is Coach Palermo over there at Mooney, as he's played them and he was able to get a win on the Cowboys in that very tough Steel Valley Conference this season.
Perfect segue. Let's get Coach Palermo in here, and feels like we just talked to him yesterday. It was not too long ago. We had him on Running Point. We have him back here today to talk about a district championship game. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time again and talking to us again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
I'm sure he's happy to be talking with us again.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a district championship now that's on the line. Coach, I mean, I don't think anyone was surprised about the victory against Liberty, but I think they were surprised by the margin and by the way you guys did it. Just talk to me a little bit about your defense in that game and what other keys you saw in that game against Liberty.
I think we talked a couple days ago, and if we make a few shots early and we could set up our press early, I'm not sure a lot of teams are ready, for that kind of speed and pressure that's constant from our team, from our ball club. To be honest with you, I was a little bit surprised with the way we shot the basketball. We've done that before this year. There's been a couple games where we really jumped out on good opponents. But I was kind of surprised as well. Defensively, we tried to help on Davis. He's a really good player. I mean, I think either him or Anthony Masucci are going to be Trumbull County Player of the Year, and they're both deserving. So you want to try to make the other guys beat you. I just think we got the momentum early, and we kept our foot on the gas, and a couple guys just really felt good shooting the basketball. And when you go down like that early, it's really tough to find the energy and the momentum to keep going forward.
When you watch the film of that game, a lot of teams when they go up against Liberty are going to go with the defensive game plan that we got to slow them down, we got to keep them out of that tempo that they like to play. But it looked like at least you guys were like, they're going to play that fast, but we're going to force them into those fast tempo mistakes, and they're going to lead to our turnovers and our fast break, points. Was that kind of a part of a game plan going in, or was that something that just kind of happened because of the flow of the game? You're letting them play fast and then letting them make the mistakes that happen when you do play fast.
Well, that's really the only way we know how to play. We're not a half-court basketball team. We could play in the half-court, but like our personnel and it seems like every time I talk to you guys, the afternoon announcements are on. I'm going to keep talking. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah, you're good, Coach.
Yeah, so that's the way we want to play. We have a number of really skilled guards who could shoot the ball. And if we could get the game going up and down, and we can get penetration, and we could kick the ball out and move the ball a little bit that way, and that really plays into what we want to do. We know Liberty. We knew Liberty was very good in the open floor. James Davis and Venters, those guys are really talented players. We just thought, though, if we could get some buckets and set up our press, we could, make them uncomfortable, make some other guys have to make some decisions and make some shots. And fortunately for us, they didn't.
Well, one game down now, one to go to call yourself district champions. I mean, it's another tall task, but you guys have been up to tall tasks all season, and you've been up to answer them. Talk to me a little bit about this game, preview it with me against Springfield, and what it's going to take for you guys to pull off the victory.
Well, Springfield's a team I've followed the entire year. I like to follow all the teams that are in our district just to get an idea, because now we're seeding 25 teams. I want to at least see a couple teams a few times. They're very well coached. They execute offensively extremely well. They have, they play about 7 guys. All of them understand their role very well. Obviously, they're led by Wary, Brungard, and I'm forgetting the number 14, the big kid's name. He's tough. I think he's going to Westminster. Maybe you guys. Rothwell. Oh my God. Yeah. He's been a 2-year starter for them. Rothwell, it all runs through those guys. They know how to set them up very well. And all, those guys, you could tell they're a program that's been in 4 straight district championships. And, they're definitely they look like a Jeff Brink coach team. All of his teams in Hudson and Salem, and then Springfield before them were very fundamental, disciplined, never beat themselves. And, those guys had the opportunity to play for Coach French the previous 3 years, who's another outstanding coach. He brought 2 district titles to Springfield. So you're going to get a battle-tested team, a team who's been there before, a team is going to be fundamentally sound, and nothing's going to phase them on the floor. They've seen everything just like our kids have. And you've got to find a way to limit those three guys, but, they're very good players. So, they're going to get theirs somehow. Like, I've watched film on Brungard. He could come out and hit 4 or 5 threes. He could beat you going the hoop. If his shot's not falling, I've seen games where, he gets on the offensive glass and he ends up with, 8 to 10 points that way. Rothwell is very strong underneath. He seals extremely hard down on the low block. That's going to be a challenge for us. And then Wary, I was at their Ursuline game. They were getting their butts kicked early on in that game, but those kids just kind of willed them the victory. And Wary just kept shooting. He kept attacking. And, I think in the second half, he probably had 25, 26 points. And, we played Ursuline twice. It's tough to go off against a team like that with all those athletes and all that length. So it's going to be a tough task, but we're going to play our game. We're going to pressure. We're going to, pressure the ball, to the best of our ability. We're going to go at them. Springfield's really good, but we played good teams. We played Cheney twice. We played Ursuline twice. We played Erie McDowell. We've played Struthers. We've played Howland, who's going to be playing for a district championship in D2. We've played really good teams. We've beat really good teams. You got to limit what they do. Then you got to make shots. I'm sure Coach Brink would say the same thing. You can execute your game plan to a T, but if you don't make shots, it really doesn't matter.
I think this will come from both teams. Both teams have players that just have that uncoachable clutch gene that just lets them make plays down the stretch. Talk about from your perspective, what a blessing it is to have kids that just know how to make good decisions down the stretch of basketball games and put you guys in opportunities to win down the stretch of basketball games.
I think, the first part of what you said, having kids who, know how to make plays and whatnot, I can't tell you how many people texted me Tuesday night and were like, Coach, that's a great game plan. What a game plan. You guys had those guys ready. And I'm showing my assistants on the bus, and we all started laughing. We really didn't do anything different that we haven't done the previous 24 games. We just shot the ball really well, and that gave us a chance to set up our press, and, things fell into line. Going back to the kids, and there's some of the things you can't teach, like, Mick Hergenrother was a great player before we got him. He was the guy in the 5th grade that was taking the last shot at the end of games. Rocco Turner, could make shots in the 5th grade. In the 6th grade, I remember watching him in the 7th and 8th grade. He shot the ball extremely well as a grade school kid. That didn't come from me. That came from him and his dad getting in the gym and, him getting up 500 shots a day. That sort of thing. That's the things we don't teach. I could show a kid how hard you have to work, the time that you have to put in. We could put them in the situation where, there's going to be a chance for them to fail, or there's going to be a chance for them to face some adversity. But ultimately, it's up them to do the work and, push down the door and become a better player and become comfortable in those situations.
Not sure if we've asked you this before, Coach, but I'm going to ask it again. Do you think the experience this team had last year in regionals is paying off this year, going through this tournament a second time for a lot of these guys for this run, not to let a moment like this district championship be too big for these guys?
Yes, absolutely. Just to kind of, last Friday versus Crestview, team that was, obviously their record's not very good, but they were playing really good basketball the last couple of weeks of the year. And, they're good enough. If you don't play well, they can beat you. We didn't play well. We do not shoot well against that team. But our kids didn't panic at halftime. We didn't panic at the end of the third quarter. Our senior talking to the younger guys, hey, just keep doing what we do. Stay confident. Shoot when you're open. Shoot with confidence. They're going to fall. Keep defending, keep rebounding. Let's give ourselves a chance. Obviously, we played really well Tuesday night. We got in the locker room and, we were like screaming and yelling and whatnot. But once it got quiet, before I could even kind of gather them and talk, our seniors were saying, hey, it's over with now. It's over with. We're on to Springfield. Our focus needs to be on Springfield, because I think they remember last year in the district semis, we beat LeBray by 39 points. They were the 3 seed, We beat them by 39 points, and we were really, really feeling good about ourselves. We came out against Waterloo the next game, and, they kind of jumped on us pretty early, and they were a really good team. But, I think our kids kind of thought they were going to lay down, and we ended up winning the game and cutting the nets down. But, and it was a little bit tougher than we thought it was going to be, and that was a good thing, facing that adversity and getting over it as well. But I think from their experience last year, getting in the locker room Tuesday night, being able to tell our younger guys like, hey, it's probably not going to be like this on Friday. Well, now it's Saturday. It's probably not going to be like this on Saturday. It's going to be a dogfight. These guys have been there before. They're battle tested. We've got to refocus, and Wednesday at practice, got to be ready to roll.
Yeah, when you look at, I love that you brought up that your seniors are the ones that kind of step up and talk to the team before you even have a chance to speak. Who are the guys that kind of in the halftime? Because you also mentioned halftime adjustments. Who are the guys that kind of step up and really vocally lead this team, and really can almost be your second-hand coaches when you're on the floor?
So all of them do an unbelievable job of leading by example, and all of them, will talk to a guy one-on-one on the side. Mick Hergenrother, Jack Pepperny are two of the more vocal kids on our team. Jack constantly, Pepperny, he's constantly chirping, constantly talking to guys, constantly organizing stuff. If they're hanging out outside of basketball, they're doing something that he organized. Mick is more the guy on the floor during the game, and he's the point guard. So, he's been the 3-year point guard for us. So that's pretty obvious for him. James Campbell is a guy, whether it's on the floor, on the bench during a game, whether it's at practice, he does a better job than anybody taking a guy to the side and explaining to them the message we're trying to convey to our players, from their perspective. I don't think I've ever had a player that's able to explain to our younger players better than James Campbell of what we're trying to do, as a Cardinal Mooney basketball player. He gets that, and he's a very mature kid. The other guys, Jack Desmond, Jack Phillips, Drew Pecchia, they're great leaders. They do a great job of being vocal, but they're more guys who lead by example. And they're vocal, but they're more guys who lead by example to the younger players.
Coach, just talking right now about the community real quickly. I mean, talk to me about how they showed up versus Liberty, how they helped you in that one, and how much you're going to need them against Springfield, because we know Springfield packs their side of the community.
Oh, you're not lying. We were at the game Tuesday night, and I would say 75% of the stands was Springfield. I mean, the whole town had to be there. If I was with a couple of my friends from the north side 10, 15 years ago, I told them that, there might be some problems there. I'm just kidding. So when you win a tournament game, what it does for the school, for everybody involved, they get very excited. The kids get excited. You could play like crap in a tournament game, but if you come away with a win, that next practice, there's just a lot more energy. People are talking in the school. They're excited. They want to buy tickets in advance. They get really excited about that game, and it just kind of builds the further you go. I don't really pay attention to the crowd. I don't really care about any of that kind of stuff. Kind of numb to it. But when you're walking off the floor after a win, you could kind of see people up in the stands like, I haven't seen them in 4 or 5 years. Or you kind of see a guy that, man, I remember they used to. I heard from other people, they would say like, yeah, we coaching staff doesn't know what they're doing, but man, they're sure been cheering the last couple of years, when we're winning, kind of get a kick out of that kind of stuff. But as far as Saturday, we need everybody to show up. Like I told you guys on, I think Monday it was when we talked, when we have a big crowd and we're defending and we're flying around, it really helps our defense, gives them a little extra energy. And it's just fun for the kids, for both teams. They love playing in front of those crowds. 10 years from now, when they're sitting together, they'll talk about the environment. They'll talk about the relation. They never really talk about the wins and losses, to be honest with you, but they talk about the experience, and that's part of it.
Coach, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Congratulations on the win over Liberty, and best of luck in this matchup with Springfield. We know it's going to be a good one, and hopefully we can talk to you again, maybe about a regional semifinal.
I hope so, man. I hope I'm talking to you guys on Monday or Tuesday next week. I appreciate it.
We'll be talking to you again. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, guys.